Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine you are wearing sunglasses. Not just any sunglasses. Really expensive designer frames, Italian acetate, the works. But you're wearing them indoors, and it's midnight.
I can picture it. It's a very specific vibe.
Right. Now be honest. Does it help you see better?
No,
Does it make any sense functionally?
absolutely not. You're actively handicapping yourself.
But does it make you look cool?
Arguably, yes. Depending on who you ask and maybe how much confidence you project while tripping over the furniture.
Exactly. And that energy, that exact mix of total impracticality and, undeniable style is what we are looking at today. It is Tuesday, February 3rd, 2026, and we're doing a deep dive into the automotive paradox that is the 2026 BMW X6.
Specifically, the iDrive 40i with the M Sport Pro package.
The one everyone seems to be driving.
Yeah, and it's a fascinating case study because technically, if we just look at the raw data, the spreadsheets, the dimensions, the utility, this car is, as our sources put it, a marketing scam.
A scam. That is a heavy accusation right out of the gate for a luxury German SUV.
Well, think about the logic here.
Yeah.
It's based on the BMW X5. They share the same skeleton, the same engines, the same dashboard.
Okay.
But compared to that X5, the X6 costs more money, it holds less cargo, and it has significantly less headroom. It is objectively less useful than the car it's based on.
Yet people are lining up to buy it. It's the rational absurdity.
It is.
And our mission today is to figure out if that sport button is just a placebo or if there is actual brilliance hiding under all that vanity.
And just to be clear, we are not talking about the X6M competition today.
No. That is for oil tycoons and people who own private racetracks.
Right. And we aren't talking about the M60i with the V8.
That's for people who want to lose their license in a school zone.
Exactly. We're looking at the 40iM Sport Pro. The one that real people actually buy. That's supposedly rational choice in a completely irrational segment.
And that's where it gets interesting, isn't it?
It is. Because even if the shape is irrational, what is under the hood might be one of the most rational, thoroughly engineered pieces of machinery on the planet.
I was reading through the technical breakdowns, and the source material gets almost religious about this engine. It's not just an engine, is it?
No. This is the B58, specifically the B58 B30M2.
That sounds like a Wi-Fi password.
It's a code that commands a lot of respect in the engineering world.
Yeah.
This is a 3.0-liter inline-six turbo. And to give you an idea of how good this platform is, remember when Toyota decided to bring back the Supra?
Sure, their most legendary sports car.
They didn't build their own engine. They went to Germany, knocked on BMW's door, and borrowed this one. That is the level of trust the industry has in this block.
So what makes it so special? Is it just fast?
It's the architecture. It uses what's called a closed-deck block design.
Okay, what does that mean?
Without getting too bogged down in the mechanics, it just means the area around the cylinders is reinforced metal rather than open cooling channels. It makes the engine incredibly rigid. It can handle massive amounts of pressure and heat. It is basically bomb-proof.
Wow, that's high praise. So what are the stats for 2026?
You're looking at 375 horsepower, which is roughly 280 kilowatts and 398 pound-feet of torque. But here's the thing, those are just the peak numbers.
Right.
The real story, and the reason it drives the way it does, is the new technology attached to it. It's a hybrid.
Whoa, hold on. A hybrid, like a Prius. Are we hypermiling in the slow lane with this thing?
Not exactly. This isn't a save the polar bears hybrid. It's a performance hybrid.
Oh.
It's a 48-volt mild hybrid system. But here's the key distinction. The electric motor is integrated directly into the transmission housing.
So what does that actually do for the driver? Does it just save gas at a stoplight?
It does that too, but its main job is to eliminate turbo lag. See, a turbo needs exhaust gas to spin up. That takes a split second. We call it lag. In the old days, you'd step on the gas, count to 1, and then the power would hit.
Right, the wait for it moment.
Exactly. But here, the electric motor provides an instant boost. About 12 horsepower and 147 pound-feet of torque right in that gap.
So it fills in that dead spot.
Perfectly. When you put your foot down, the car just surges forward instantly. It feels almost electric in its response. It fills the valley before the turbo wakes up.
That explains the acceleration numbers. The sources mentioned something funny about that, actually. BMW claims this 5,000-pound SUV does 0 to 60 in 5.2 seconds.
Right. And that is a lie.
A lie.
It's a classic BMW conservative estimate. They always undersell their performance, so you feel pleasantly surprised.
Ah.
Independent tests are showing this thing consistently hit 60 miles per hour in 4.7 or 4.8 seconds.
That is fast.
It is faster than dedicated sports cars from 10 years ago. And remember, this is a tank. It weighs nearly 2,300 kilograms. It should be able to move like that.
But there is a catch, isn't there? We have this amazing engine, this incredible speed, but the sources point out an auditory illusion.
Yes, the sound.
Yeah.
If you get the M Sport Pro package, which we're focusing on, you get the M Sport exhaust.
Right.
From the outside, it bobles, it sounds angry, it does the job. But inside,
It's fake.
active sound design, it's fake engine noise played through the speakers.
I always find that so funny. You pay nearly $90,000 for a car with a legendary engine, and then you pay for a premium stereo to play you a recording of an engine.
It is ridiculous, but it's the industry standard now. Regulations require the cabin to be so insulated against road noise that if they didn't pump in artificial sound, you'd be doing 100 and it would feel like you were sitting on your sofa reading a book.
So they have to fake the drama.
They have to.
Okay, so the engine is a masterpiece, even if the sound is a bit of a lie. But what about the drive? Because the X6 has this reputation for defying physics. How does a car this tall actually handle corners?
It relies on the KLAR platform, that's cluster architecture. It uses a double wishbone front suspension and a 5-link rear axle. Structurally, it's very sophisticated.
Okay.
But we have to talk about the suspension trade-off because this is where a lot of buyers make a mistake.
The M Sport suspension versus the Air suspension?
Right. If you buy the M Sport model, it comes standard with steel springs tuned for sportiness.
And on a perfect German Autobahn.
On roads made of silk and dreams, as one review put it, this suspension is fantastic. The nose bites, body roll is minimal. It feels like a lowered sedan.
But most of us aren't driving on silk. We're driving on potholes, expansion joints, and terrible city streets.
And that is the problem. On real-world roads, that stiffness translates to spilled coffee and a sore back. It is harsh.
That doesn't sound very premium.
No. The sources are almost unanimous here.
Right.
It lacks the comfort of the standard X5 unless you explicitly option the air suspension.
So that's a key takeaway for the listener. If you want the look, but you still want comfort, you have to check the box for air ride.
Absolutely. Do not stick with the standard M Sport springs unless you really enjoy visiting your chiropractor.
And what about the steering? The source described it as a high-definition video game.
That's a perfect analogy. It is incredibly sharp and precise. You just twitch your wrist and the car changes lanes.
Hot!
But it's completely numb. You turn the wheel and the car goes exactly where you want, but you don't feel the road through your hands at all. You were just trusting the electronics, not the tires.
Speaking of trusting electronics, let's talk about stopping. The M Sport Pro package comes with those big, colorful calipers, right? Red or blue.
Yes, the M Sport brakes, they bite hard. They're definitely an upgrade over the standard ones. But there is a very practical downside that owners complain about constantly.
Which is?
Dust. Brake dust.
Oh, really?
Massive amounts. The source says they generate more dust than a woodworking shop. If you care about keeping those expensive wheels clean, you are going to be scrubbing them constantly.
So you wash the car on Saturday.
And by Tuesday, your wheels are gray again.
Well, let's talk about those wheels and the rest of the exterior. Because honestly, this is why people buy the X6. It's all about the look.
The SEC, Sports Activity Coupe.
Which is, let's be honest, marketing speak for SUV with the roof smashed in.
Pretty much. And for 2026, they have updated the look. This is the LCI2 update. Sharpened headlights, arrow-shaped daytime running lights.
But the big talking point is the grille.
The iconic glow.
The glowing kidney grille.
It literally lights up. There are LEDs embedded right in the frame.
I'm so torn on this. Is it tacky or is it cool?
The source splits the difference. It says it is tacky, but also that you will absolutely love it at night because it makes the car look like a predator.
It has presence.
Immense road presence. When you see that glowing snout in your rearview mirror, you move over.
It definitely screams, get out of my way. But here's something I found surprising. I always assumed the slope of the roof, the coupe shape, was for
Aerodynamics, right. Like, it looks sleeker, so it must slice through the air better than the boxy X5.
Exactly. But that's not true.
That is the aerodynamic myth.
Yeah.
It is actually false.
Really? How is a teardrop shape not better?
It comes down to fluid dynamics. On a boxy car like the X5, the air travels over the roof and breaks cleanly off that sharp rear edge.
Okay.
On the X6, the air clings to that sloping roofline and then separates turbulently at the rear deck. That turbulence creates a vacuum, a low-pressure zone, that actually pulls the car backward.
So it creates drag.
It creates more drag.
Yeah.
So the drag coefficient is often the same, or even worse than the boxy X5. You aren't gaining efficiency, you are just losing space.
And then visibility. The source calls the rear window a mail slot.
You are entirely dependent on cameras. You can't see anything out the back.
Wow.
And let's not forget the wheels. The M Sport Pro usually comes with 21 or 22-inch wheels. They look spectacular, but they come with the run-flat tax.
Which sounds expensive.
About $500 a tire. And because the side rolls are so stiff and thin to accommodate those huge rims, there's no cushion. If you hit a bad pothole, you aren't just popping a tire, you're often cracking the alloy rim itself.
So a pothole can be a multi-$1,000 repair.
Easily. It's a very extensive aesthetic.
Okay, let's move inside. Because if you're spending this much money, you want the interior to feel like a spaceship. And it kind of does, doesn't it?
It does. It's dominated by the BMW curved display, as a 12.3-inch instrument cluster and a 14.9-inch infotainment screen, all fused into one big piece of glass.
Running iDrive 8.5.
Or possibly iDrive 9, depending on the specific production week. The graphics are 4K, crisp, beautiful.
And the materials, they're using Sensation,
Vegan leather.
which usually feels like cheap plastic.
Surprisingly, no. The source claims it is actually better than the real Vernasca leather BMW used to use. It's softer, it breathes better, and it's more durable.
And you get that ambient light bar across the dash.
Yeah, that gives it a cool cyberpunk vibe.
And there is always a but with modern car interiors where the button
This is gone. This is the war on buttons.
This drives me crazy. The source mentions the climate control specifically.
Right. To change the fan speed or turn on a heated seat, you have to navigate a touchscreen menu.
Imagine doing that while you're driving 80 miles per hour on those stiff springs we just talked about.
It's not just annoying. The source argues it is dangerous. You have to take your eyes off the road to look at a screen. Muscle memory doesn't work on a flat piece of glass.
And the gear selector. It used to be this big tactile crystal stick you could grab.
Now it is a tiny toggle switch, a nub. You lose that mechanical feeling of putting a car into drive. It's just click.
And then there's the fingerprint museum.
Piano black trim. It covers the entire center console. It looks premium for exactly 3 seconds after you clean it.
And after that.
It's just smudges, dust, and scratches.
Okay, let's talk about the coupe penalty on the inside. We mentioned the roofline. How bad is it for passengers?
If you are over 6 feet tall, or say 183 centimeters, do not sit in the back.
Really?
Your head will brush the headliner. You'll be craning your neck the whole trip. The legroom is fine. It's the same as the X5, but that roof just crushes you.
And the trunk. I've heard it's surprisingly big.
It's deceptive.
Yeah.
580 liters sounds like a lot, and you can fit golf clubs or suitcases flat.
What?
But because of that sloping glass, you lose all verticality. You cannot haul a washing machine. You cannot haul a tall antique chair. An X5 is a utility vehicle. The X6 is strictly a luggage hauler.
So we have established it's less practical, harder to see out of, frustrating to operate, and expensive to maintain. Now I want to get to the title of our mission today. The M Sport Pro scam. Why does the source call it a scam?
Because of what the package implies versus what it actually delivers. You pay over $3,000 for the M Sport Pro package. Now, logically, Pro implies performance, right?
You would think so. Maybe a tune, better intake, something.
Go on, guess. How much extra horsepower do you get for that $3,000?
Oh, I don't know. 20, 50?
Zero.
Zero.
Not a single pony.
You're kidding. Does it make the car faster at all?
No.
Does it upgrade the suspension?
No.
So what are you buying?
You're buying tinted lights, they call it shadowline black trim around the windows, seat belts with the little M stripes woven in, and that loud exhaust we talked about.
So it's an appearance package.
It is strictly an appearance package designed to make you look like you have the V8 model. You are paying for vanity.
That is bold marketing. But the
Definitely.
source admits it works.
It absolutely works. It looks menacing. Without it, the car looks a bit docile. With the Pro package, it commands respect. It changes the whole psychology of the car.
So let's look at the market. Who actually buys this instead of the competition? You have the Mercedes GLE Coupe.
Which is softer, it's more luxury, less sport. The steering is lighter, the suspension is floatier,
The Audi Q8.
arguably better looking, and much more practical in the back seats. But it drives like a boat compared to the BMW. It feels heavy in the corners.
And then the Porsche Cayenne Coupe.
The driver's choice. It handles better than the X6, no question. But here's the kicker. To get a Cayenne with the same equipment as this X6, you are spending $25,000 more.
25 grand. Wow.
So the X6 hits this weird middle ground. It drives better than the Audi and Mercedes, but it's so much cheaper than the Porsche.
It occupies a very specific niche of performance per dollar.
Exactly.
And we have to talk about ownership reality because these cars have a reputation for being money pits. Is the 2026 X6 gonna bankrupt you?
Surprisingly, maybe not on the engine. As we said, the B58 engine and the ZF8 speed transmission are described as bulletproof. It doesn't suffer from the catastrophic failures of the old BMW V8s.
So what should a potential buyer worry about then?
The transfer case. The xDrive system is incredibly sensitive to tire circumference.
Explain that for me.
So the car's computer constantly monitors how fast each wheel is spinning. If you have mismatched wear on your tires, say the rears are worn down but the fronts are new, they have different circumferences.
Okay.
That means they spin at slightly different speeds even when driving straight.
And the car thinks the wheels are slipping.
Exactly. The transfer case tries to compensate for slip that isn't actually happening, and it just grinds its clutches and gears until it destroys itself.
So you can't just replace one tire if you get a flat.
Never. You usually have to replace all four at once to keep the diameters identical. It makes a simple flat tire a $2,000 problem.
That is good to know. Any other gremlins?
Watch out for coolant leaks after 60,000 miles. The water pumps and reservoirs are plastic and get brittle. And of course, software glitches. With everything running on iDrive, expect screens to freeze or CarPlay to disconnect right when you need a map.
And then there is the financial pain. Depreciation.
Prepare to cry. These cars depreciate like a falling rock. If you buy new, you are losing roughly $10,000 a year in value.
So in 4 years.
It's worth half of what you paid for it.
Ouch. But at least the fuel economy isn't terrible.
No, actually. This is where that mild hybrid system shines again. For a tank with 375 horsepower, getting 26 miles per gallon on the highway is impressive. It's efficient enough not to make you feel guilty every time you drive it.
So let's try to land this plane. Or this tank, I suppose. What is the verdict?
Yeah.
We have a car that is objectively less practical than its sibling, harder to see out of, frustrating to operate, and expensive to maintain.
It is a paradox. It's a practical car made impractical on purpose.
And yet, the source says it is the best car in its class. How?
Because it succeeds on an emotional level. That is the why. You don't buy an X6 because it makes sense on a spreadsheet. You buy it because of how it drives. The connection between the engine and transmission is, well, it's telepathic. It feels alive in a way the Mercedes and Audi just don't.
It's the rational absurdity.
Exactly. If you want a car that makes sense, you buy the X5. You get more space, you save money. But if you want a car that makes you look back at it every time you park, if you want the aggression, the road presence, then the X6 is the winner.
And the 40iM Sport Pro specifically.
It's the sweet spot. The M60i is just a V8 tax. The X6M competition is too harsh for daily use. This 40i is fast enough to thrill you, efficient enough not to bankrupt you, and with that Pro package, it's aggressive enough to scare your neighbors.
It's the Goldilocks of aggressive SUVs.
Just don't try to help a friend move a washing machine.
Right. If they ask, just point to your sloping roofline and say, sorry, aerodynamics, even though we know that's a myth.
Exactly. Enjoy the drive, enjoy the iconic glow, and accept the absurdity.
That feels like the perfect place to leave it. A huge thank you to our listener for tuning in to this deep dive on the 2026 BMW X6. Whether you are looking to buy one or just laughing at the people who do, we hope you learned something.
Drive safe, everyone.
See you next time.